This starts with the professor's new job forcing him to move to the town of Citiesville. This really shakes up the girls and removes them totally from their normal life and routine. There's no point following the events of this in order because it was basically a bunch of scenes of them getting kicked about. From a girl on the bus making fun of their dresses, to a man on the street creepily complimenting their dresses, to a teacher who is dismissive of them and will not excuse them to fight crime, and even a mayor who wants nothing to do with their superpowers. Frustrated with the way they are being treated, the girls decide to prove themselves by stopping a bank robbery, but in the process they blow up the main bridge into the city. Now, as much of a jerk as the mayor is, he has a right to be annoyed about this. They had no need to destroy the bridge to stop the robbers. It ended up causing far more damage than the robbers stole. That was just the girls trying to show off, in my opinion. Him being annoyed at the city losing hundreds of millions of dollars would be a fairly realistic reaction for mayors of most cities, I would assume, so you kind of excuse him banning the girls from using their powers. Which contrasts, of course, how Townsville always somehow has the money to rebuild the city on a daily. Now, I'm not sure I would call this episode realistic overall, because if superhumans like the Powerpuffs existed in real life, they would be full-blown celebrities, right? And would no doubt be treated much better than they were here. This episode just took a very cynical and gritty approach, which I'm sure rubbed many the wrong way, but I'm not willing to call it bad based on that, just different. To talk about the finale a bit, the girls, now banned from flying, trudge their way back through the city and all its obstacles, where they reach their shoddy apartment and find out the professor actually hates life in the city too. So they all go back home right away. I'm not the biggest fan of this. The professor and the girls should have had this conversation and been honest with each other long before it got to this point. Ultimately, this was a mixed bag, but one thing I will stand by this episode doing well is capturing how hard and scary change can be, especially for kids. It's a rare episode where the girls don't actually fight a monster, but instead face arguably a tougher challenge, the rough real world, and all the horrors it can entail. You don't have to like this episode, but if you're honest with yourself, it is relatable to pretty much anyone.